Good morning, Zabrina Douglas. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great here in Montreal. There's a bit of a glare here, but I look very
Oh,
angelic.
like on my end?
No, on my end, my end. I feel like I'm
Oh, I
angelic.
see. Oh, from the yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
horrible.
Just a
Anyway,
little. It's first day of school, so yay.
oh, it's exciting for you because I watched your special on CBC Gem, which you're
Yeah.
part of the new wave of stand-up on CBC Gem. Which congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's a great special, and it's a special that um, a lot of people can relate to. And so, like you're saying, today's the first day of school. You talk about your kids a lot in your special, so you must be
Oh
very,
yeah.
very excited to be alone
Yeah,
this
it's
morning.
like quiet. I'm like, what do I do with my life now? Yeah.
Write more jokes.
Yes. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. But yeah, that I'm doing constantly, but still.
Amazing. Congratulations on the success. Tell me a bit about your comedy career. I mean, you're from Toronto. You have a family. Uh,
Yeah.
I want to talk about your beginnings a bit too. You mentioned in your special how your grandfather and your father pretty much shaped your comedy because they were the funny guys, right?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so growing up in your household, they were the jokesters. Were you trying to be funny as well, or did they not give you a platform at all?
Well, I just remember I would tell jokes, but my especially my mom, they didn't like when we would be laughing too much. You'd be like, "You guys are laughing too much. You have to be serious. You're kids." Like typical immigrant parents. They're just like they just want me to be either like a teacher or a doctor. And I remember one time when I was a kid, I told my dad I wanted to be a comedian, and he's like, "You want to be a clown for a living? How are you gonna support yourself? How are you gonna support your family?" And I'm just like, ah. So I remember I wanted to be a comedian like I remember I had a dream that I was on stage telling jokes and I wanted to do that and I buried that for like
Oh,
so long. And I didn't start comedy till like maybe about 15 years ago.
okay.
And yeah, that's what I started. But like yeah, my grandfather and my dad, yeah, they're the jokers of the family. My dad's super supportive now of the comedy. He thinks it's hilarious, but like,
He's like, you're
oh
on
my
TV
god.
now. This is serious.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
he's like, "Oh, okay." Yeah.
this is how you make the money.
Yeah.
Um, and getting up on stage that first time, like, what drove you to want to get on stage that first time, and what kept you going?
Oh man, I just remembered like I was maybe 5 years into nursing and I had really bad stage fright. Like I had stage fright. Like I could tell jokes with my friends, but if I didn't know you or if I was in like a small group of people, I get like really bad anxiety and I'm
Mhm.
like I need to get rid of that. And my when I started stand up, it was I wasn't thinking about being a comedian. I was just thinking about like getting rid of my stage fright so I can like start talking to a group of people. Like I found a workshop at Yuck Yucks. It was 4 weekends. I joined it and I went on stage for the first time and I told a joke. And like after that, I just remember driving home and being like, oh my God, maybe I'm meant to be a comedian. And
Mhm.
I just was driving the wrong way home, like just so starstruck with whatever I did. And yeah, ever since then, I was like, totally. I think I don't know, like it was good and it was like a lot of really bad open mics I did where I'm like, is this actually a good
Of
thing to
course.
do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So many bad open mics, but yeah, my stage fright totally went away.
Yeah, no kidding. And you're saying this was 15 years ago. I mean, the comedy
Yeah.
scene for sure has changed so much. Well, it has changed so much since you first stepped foot on a stage. What was the first time you stepped on stage at Yuck Yucks, or was it somewhere else?
Yuck, it was a Yuck Yucks workshop and then the last class was like the Humber College show that they had.
Okay.
on a Tuesday night. Yeah, that was the first time where I did a show, which obviously the crowd was supportive. They're
Hmm.
laughing at my very first jokes that I made up. And I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. And then I went to the worst open mic.
Oh,
Nobody laughed the whole time. And I had to power through my set. I'm like, I gotta finish this or else I'm gonna quit. And then the only thing they laughed at was when I said, oh, I guess I'm gonna leave now. And then everyone laughed. I was like, oh my God. And
I
I had to rewrite everything. There's no way. That was so bad.
I have so many friends that are comics, and I mean, I feel like those comedy club silences when your joke does, like, you're landing a joke and it just doesn't work. I feel like that's what makes you stronger as a person.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know what? It's good to bomb. You need to
Yeah,
bomb
yeah,
because when the set counts the most and they're not laughing at a joke, you can't make it phase you. You just like move on. Like, oh well, like or like acknowledge it. People love it when you're like, oh, I guess you didn't like that one. Like whatever, you
yeah.
know what I mean? But like, yeah, it's good. Like, especially when you're starting when you need to know if a joke is really funny,
Mhm.
then you'll know if a joke's like, okay,
Yeah.
I won't say that again. Like
But do you go in that direction where you say you won't say that again, or do you try and dissect the joke and find a different
oh
like
yeah,
way
like
to
I'll be like,
tell it,
okay,
or yeah,
yeah, because you never know why it didn't work. Like sometimes I'll have a joke that'll kill like applause break, and I'm like, yes, that's the best
yeah,
joke ever. And then I go do it somewhere else, nobody laughs. I'm like, what the heck happened?
yeah.
Like,
They just
yeah.
laughed. Yeah.
You're like, what the heck? I'm like, no, I'm not getting rid of that joke. Or sometimes I'll like put a joke aside and be like, okay, I'll work on it some other time.
Mhm.
And then yeah, just trying to figure out what the laugh points are. It's like, yeah, it's
Are,
annoying, but it's a lot of work. But like, yeah.
oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, stand-up comedy is probably the hardest job there is. It's, I mean, you're a nurse too, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably harder. But I mean, in a certain sense of like maybe the entertainment industry, that's probably the hardest
It
thing to
is. I
do.
think it's
Yeah,
hard. It's harder than nursing because it's not like there's no there's it's not like, like um I don't know, how can I say it? I mean, it's not a regular workplace where you just come in and you punch in and you get paid every 2 weeks. You know what I
right.
mean? You gotta
Yeah,
like be super creative in
and
everything
hustle, and
you
you
do.
just gotta, yeah,
Oh, yeah, hustle. It's a business, man. It's like
yeah.
a personal business. But
Are you still a pen to paper person, or do you like do voice notes, or do you like just type in your notes on your phone?
I do a lot of different things, but like for me, I know some people can sit and just write. I can't write until like I mostly write on stage. Like if I'm on stage, I'm in the moment, then I can think of other things. I'm like, oh yeah, oh my God, I should do
Right.
this, I should do that. But like if I'm just alone writing, I find it harder. So like I end up it's hard though, like the way I write, because then I'm like always doing shows. Like I'll do like 4 or 5 shows a week, but I got to be creative with it. Like I'll
Hmm.
just be like, okay, I'll do an 8 hour night shift at the hospital, which we start at 11:30 p.m. anyways, and then I can just go to Toronto, luckily, and just hit a few rooms.
Right. Yeah.
So
'Cause
like it's a
before
lot.
your, yeah,
Yeah,
before your
like
shift.
thank God there's a lot.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of the comedians and the people who run the room, so they'll let me do a set, and then most people know I'm going to work after anyway.
So you're just constantly working it out on stage, if I understand correctly. Like you're writing a bit, but like when you're on stage is when you're really perfecting your craft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
and how does that? So being a nurse as well, you must have gone through COVID-19 and all that stuff during the pandemic. It
Yeah.
must have been like a wild time. Were you trying to? This is such a cliche question. I don't think I ask questions like this usually, but um, did you try and get through that period, like trying to make other people laugh? Because you mentioned something in the special on CBC Gem. You mentioned you're always taking care of people. So like you're taking care of the people at the hospital, you're taking care of your kids, but you're also taking care of people's laughter. You're trying to make them laugh all the time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
were you trying
Yeah,
to
like
push through
uh,
all that through like comedy?
well, yeah, like when during COVID, so many times I remember like I don't try and do my bits at work. Like there'll
Right.
be nurses, they'll be like, "Oh, Zabrina, you're gonna
She's
tell us some
in.
jokes.
Yeah.
You're gonna give us a sample of your comedy." I'm like, "No, I'm here to
Yeah.
work a shift." Or
I'm in
unless you come
scrubs.
to a show, nice try, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, but like, but I remember sometimes like there'll be patients in isolation,
Mm.
and a lot of people like would say like when I come in the room, just the way I am, like I have like a lot of energy. I don't feel like I always feel tired all the time, but they'd be like, there's something so happy and positive about you. And I'm always just like, I have to
Mhm.
keep it upbeat because like what am I supposed to do? Like cry? Like I'm just like,
Yeah.
hey. And then if I make them laugh, like I'll make people really laugh and they're just like, oh, this is the first time I laughed for so long. And I'm like, oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Ah. But like yeah, I would make patients laugh and just like I don't know, there's something about it. Like it helps like a lot more than just giving medication and then leaving the
Mhm.
room. Like, especially during COVID, like people were in isolation for like 14 days by themselves. That's
Yeah,
the
not seeing their
worst. And
family and shit. Yeah.
I'm the only point of
Mhm.
contact. Like what the heck? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
yeah, like I tried, but it's hard. It was so hard like then. Even like I remember I did stop for a bit, like within that 15 years, I did stop for a few years. I got remarried and we had another baby. So I had to stop. And then I came back during comedy to do comedy again. But then COVID happened. So it's like everybody stopped. And I'm
More of
like,
a break, you know?
oh,
Yeah.
but everybody stopped and was doing more online shows, which they hated. Everybody hated the
Oh,
Zoom,
yeah.
but for me, it helped because like I would have to go to work, and it's like I would do like open mics like during break. I would just go on my cell phone in a break room or the locker room, and just
Mhm.
I'd be like, "I'll be back, guys," and I just be like telling like jokes on the phone, like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, here in the hospital," like, yeah. So it was like crazy.
What's it like for you now that you have a special on CBC? And I mean, do you have any projects coming up that you can speak about?
Yeah, well, on September 24th, it's gonna be Just for Laughs Toronto. I'm gonna be doing that Jamaica versus Trinidad comedy show at Elgin Theater. So
Nice.
that's gonna be super cool. Yeah, just been now that I have that special out, I've just been working on new material because now
Mhm.
obviously because that's those jokes are out. I gotta do something else. So
Yeah.
I just been working a lot of the material around and just seeing what else I can do. So yeah.
How great is that the festival is like right outside your door? You just gotta walk to, you gotta get stuff to Toronto and you're there. You don't have to travel.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
pretty
So
fantastic.
much easier. But I love traveling too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Where is that one of your favorite places to travel to do comedy that you've been to so far?
Oh man. Well, I got to do JFL in Montreal. That was my very first time doing that festival and that was like just so cool. Like
I,
it
I- I'm
that
in
was
I'm in Montreal. Were you there this year or was it last year?
yeah, this year was
Oh,
there and I did the gala, the Jack Whitehead gala
okay,
and
yeah,
yeah, and I did some outdoor shows and I did Comedy Nest for the first time. So
nice.
yeah, I loved it. I thought like maybe the Jamaican jokes wouldn't hit, but yeah, it was like super fun. Like it's just a town that loves comedy and I love that. So yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. I love performing in Canada. Canada has a lot of the best places to perform.
yeah.
For
It's
sure.
weird. It's weird. It's not weird, but it's interesting how like this is like it's a pretty big, but Montreal especially is a very big comedy like center,
I
uh, and
know.
like
Yeah.
it's weird because of the languages and stuff. Like it's like you don't expect it, but here we are.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
forcing French down your throat, but you know, let's do English comedy. Uh, I got some rapid fire questions for you before I let you go. Is that cool?
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. So we're big movie buffs here at the Snob Media. What's some of your favorite movies that shaped you?
Oh, shaped me. Oh, well, I just been recently watching the old time, not old timey, but old gangster movies like the American Gangster. We watched that last night on Netflix.
Denzel.
That
Yeah,
movie's amazing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not funny. It's just like
No.
yeah, we've been watching a lot of gangster movies, but in terms of uh oh man, Richard Pryor, he's old school, but
Mm,
like yeah, I love watching the old school comedians like doing their stuff. It's like
yeah,
just so amazing for me. I'm just like, oh, I need to write some more. Like that's
yeah.
just legends that you want to like, yeah. And then Kevin Hart's new special. Oh man, yeah. I like watching stand-up comedy because you see
Yeah.
yeah, the legends performing. It's like so sick to try and reach for that.
This kind of ties into my next one, which is like, do you remember the first stand-up special that you remember watching?
Oh, for stand-ups, it for sure was the Richard Pryor one because I remember he did a movie, an autobiography of like his life when he was like smoking crack and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
going up and
yes.
I watched that and I'm like, what the hell? I don't want to do that part of comedy, but like, yeah. Yo, he was like such an amazing storyteller when he was talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That
So
stuff's crazy.
Pryor, who else would you cite as some comedic influences for you?
Oh man. Um, like there's even a lot here in Canada that like I really love that I'm working with now. Like I'm gonna be doing that show at JFL with John Paul and
Oh,
James
hilarious.
Martin. Those
Yeah.
dudes, yeah, they've been doing it for years, but they're so good with their storytelling and
Mhm.
like their impressions and stuff like that. I love watching people live. Like a lot of my colleagues, there's a lot of amazing comics here that people probably don't even know about. So like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
for
always
sure.
important to it's always important to go to your local comedy club and just support whoever
Yeah,
is performing there, right?
exactly.
I mean, um, so I guessing the ultimate goal for you would be to just do this full time and just
Oh,
travel
I want
just
to, or
travel the
I
world.
would still be a nurse. I'll still
Yeah?
be a nurse, but not as much.
Yeah. Just want to help people, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, our signature question on this show is a deep and dark one, but it's a fun one because I never get the same answer twice. What song would you have played at your funeral and why?
Ooh, song. I don't know what song, but I think I would do something more upbeat because that's my personality
Yeah.
for sure. Like I take any like crazy scenario that I've been through and I try and make it into like a story, like a joke, like all the
Mhm.
time. Especially when I'm at work and just say like a patient passed away, like, oh, I won't be telling jokes like where the patient and the family is. No.
Right.
But I mean, me and the nurses are for sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna be laughing amongst ourselves because this is how I deal with stress and
Hmm.
this is how I can make it through the day for sure. I need to laugh. I'm like, you want me
Yeah.
to cry? I don't think you want me to cry. So like, yeah, something upbeat for sure, I think.
Amazing. Zabrina, I really appreciate your time this morning and enjoy your first day, more or less off from your children. And you can catch Sabrina on the new wave of stand-up comedy season 4, CBC Gem. It's streaming right now. Thank you so much once again, and I
Yeah,
hope to
thank
see you
you so
around here in
much.
Montreal at some point.
All right, love to come back.
How you doing, Ben?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm Gianni. Welcome to SnobCast. We talk about everything comedy, movies, music, and we like
Yeah,
to push a lot of Canadian content on here. So here we are.
nice. I love that
You're on.
you're pushing Canadian content like a drug dealer in a playground.
Yes, it's exactly what.
Children.
Yes.
Yes, good.
Congratulations. You're on the new wave of stand-up comedy on CBC Gem. Um, how did that happen? How do you feel about it? It's a great 10-minute special. Everyone
Oh,
should check it out.
thank you. Yeah, everyone should check it out. That would be great. How did it happen? I guess Just for Laughs is obsessed with me. They
As
can't
they
get
should
enough,
be.
as they should be. They're clinically addicted. It's a problem. I'm reaching out to their families so they could support them. But I think, yeah, like I guess I've been showcasing for Just for Laughs for a while, and I've done New Faces. I've headlined Just for Laughs Toronto, and I think they're like, maybe we'll just give them another thing to round it out or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think yeah, you just like do like a bunch of showcases, and then you end up on their radar. So I
Hmm.
guess this was my big like debutante year for them.
Right. Yeah. So this happened. This was recorded in Vancouver,
Yeah, yeah,
and so they flew you out to Vancouver. What's
yeah,
and you primarily do stand up in well, you're from Toronto, right? So I mean you do
yeah.
a lot of shows in Toronto. How does it differentiate? How's the Vancouver crowd compared to a Toronto crowd, for example?
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like maybe they're a little chiller. I don't know. I mean,
Really?
I think Toronto crowds, for the most part, could be like crazy. And
Hmm.
Vancouver, I only did a handful of shows when I was there. Maybe if I did more, I'd feel differently. But the vibe definitely seemed much more laid back. Like the crowds were great. Like they were
Hmm.
laughing and having a great time. But I think like energy wise, like they're kind of like laid. It's more body language, like their
Okay.
posture is like a little bit looser. They're leaning
You could
back
tell when they're
more.
not having a good time and stuff. You're like,
Yeah, except what they're always having a good time with me. Don't
of
let your
course.
listeners get
No. I mean,
scared.
in
I'm kidding.
general, just like you could tell, like the Vancouverites, I guess you can call them. I don't know what the hell you.
Vancouverites, oh my God, they probably have a name, I'm sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they'd be so mad at me, a Torontonian, not knowing it. Because Vancouver people hate Toronto, in case your listeners don't know that.
Why do they hate Toronto? I didn't know. I thought Montreal hated Toronto, which is where I
Montreal hates
am.
Toronto too.
Yeah.
Every Canadian city hates Toronto because it's like, here's what it is. So, you know how in high school there's like the popular, let's say the popular guy,
Yeah.
and everyone kind of hates him. They're like, oh, like he's so popular. But like the popular guy, he doesn't know that. Like he's just kind of living his life, like partying. I think that's Toronto. Like people are mad. I think it's like they're negging. They're negging. It's negging.
Ah,
They want us. They want us.
yeah,
You want what you can't have, and you want
exactly.
what you're not. And that's what we are to them. So I'm isolating every person who's not from Toronto.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'll stop.
You're fine. You're good. And I mean, so like I said, I'm in Montreal, and so tell me a bit about New Faces, and because I speak to a lot of comics, and I know it's a big fucking deal. I
Yeah.
mean, tell me a bit about how that night. Do you remember that night? Is it a blur?
Well, our night was kind of crazy because there was a fire.
Okay, so you were at that showcase last
I
year.
was at that showcase. It was really funny. Me and my friend Malik, who's a great comedian, we were rolling up to the venue, like to the stage door, and there was smoke billowing out of the door,
Wow.
caution tape surrounding it, fire trucks everywhere. And we were like, oh, I guess we're not having a show. And then like all the JFL, like wranglers and producers made us like congregate in like this park across the street. And their vibe was kind of like, yeah, guys, I guess you're not doing a show. And we were all so sad.
Of
And
course.
yeah, I mean, we were devastated. But then like last minute, Pete Holmes was doing like his like big show just like around the corner at Club
Club
Soda.
Soda, yeah.
Yeah, great venue. And he was like, yeah, he just got rid of his entire lineup because he heard what happened to us. And he's like, oh, I'll have like the Canadian kids on my show instead. Which could have gone either way. Like if I was an audience expecting like, I don't know, like Nikki
Whatever.
Glazer or whatever, like
Yeah,
the big
yeah.
comics who were gonna be on his lineup, I'd be like disappointed. But it was like a great fucking show. Like one of the best sets I've ever had in my life, maybe. And Pete was great. Everyone was so
He's a
happy to
gem.
have,
Pete's a
yeah.
gem. Yeah.
He's so nice.
Yeah.
He's so
Super
tall.
nice.
Very
Yeah,
tall.
very tall.
Very handsome, great laugher. Like he was laughing at all our jokes, and he was such a
Yeah.
gracious host. Like he had lots of buttons for all our jokes after we finished our sets, and
Mhm.
he'd make callbacks to stuff we said. It was very sweet of him. Like
Amazing.
I was an admirer before, but I left that experience being like a full-fledged Pete Holmes fan. I'm like
Of course.
I'm obsessed with him. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it
and
was
that's
crazy but fun. Yeah.
yeah, and that's such a crazy story to it. Like just in general, that like you were trying to do this huge showcase in
Mhm.
Montreal, which is like the home of JFL, and like, hey
Yes.
guys, there's a fire.
I know.
So
Victor
like,
started it. I think that was the first JFL without Victor,
yeah, it makes
the
sense.
mascot. He
Yeah,
started it.
now he's a demon. He's just
Now he's a demon from
yeah.
hell.
Tell me a bit about your comedy beginnings. I mean, when was the moment that you realized you wanted to do stand up? And it's a cliche question, but
No, that's not, don't put yourself down. That is
okay,
not cliche. That is unique and original, and the way you said it
I
is different
appreciate
than it's ever been said before because
it.
you're
Thank you.
different.
Wow,
Uh,
stop it.
I start. We both start crying.
Yeah.
I started doing improv as like a kid, which is
Okay.
cringe. That's more cliche than anything.
Is it cringe though? Because I feel like improv comedy is probably the hardest thing to do.
You know what? I love that you said that because I think I say improv is cringe is
Yeah.
almost like a reflex to not
Yeah.
scare people away because I want them to
Mhm.
think I'm cool or whatever. But like I'd still do improv. Like I love it.
Yeah.
But I did like I was a second city kid. I did like the kid classes or whatever. And I was like part of a teen improv troupe, and we actually like gained some whatever you want to call it notoriety at a young
Okay.
age. Like we would do festivals and stuff and open for like the bigger troops in Toronto. So I was
Mhm.
like meeting comedians and I was like hanging out at comedy bar in Toronto as like a teenager. So I was like around it all the time. And I thought like maybe I'd try my hand at stand up one day. But then I moved to Montreal for university when I was like, I want to say like 19 or something.
Concordia or
And
McGill?
Concordia,
All right.
Concordia. Yes. And one of my good buddies, James, he was doing like an alt stand-up show run out of his apartment. and we had a creative writing class together, and he was like, "Oh, you're funny, like you should try stand up." And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, "Do my show, it's chill, like it's in my living room.
Yeah.
It's almost like a house party, but there's a stand-up show." And that show was called Squad Laughs, and it turned into like, I guess, like the biggest alt stand-up show in Montreal for its time. It doesn't exist
Oh, wow.
anymore. But I started doing stand-up at that show regularly, and like through that show I met like people like Trana Wintour and like um yeah, like people who had become like my mentors in stand-up. So I guess that was the first time. And I was like 19, 20. I think I was 20 when I did it the first time. I think I was a bit scared when he first
Oh.
asked me. But when I was 20, I did it. And then I guess I never looked back. I got that first laugh, and I loved it. I loved it.
It's like heroin. It's just like that adrenaline. Just that
As someone
seeps
who
through your
does
soul.
heroin, it's exactly like that. I can confirm as someone who does heroin. I did heroin before we press record today.
Oh,
And
great.
it's
Yeah.
even the laughs I'm getting from you are better than the heroin in my veins right now. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Mom.
Yeah,
My
we're
mom's
all
listening.
yeah. Both our moms are listening, probably.
Oh, what's your mom's name?
Linda.
Linda.
Yeah, what's
That
your
is the
mom's name?
classic mom. Alejandra. Yeah.
Of course, yes. So you're coming from your mom is Latina,
Yeah.
and your dad is, I guess, white.
White. Evil.
How did that influence a lot of your comedy?
Oh yeah. I guess like when you grow up, and like my dad's not an immigrant, but I feel like I grew up in like an immigrant hybrid household where
Mhm.
like my dad and my mom just growing up with very different cultural backgrounds, like watching them clash or watching like my mom interact with her family or my dad trying to interact with my mom's family, just watching kind of like the comedy that exists in the day to day or just like
Yeah,
cultural differences kind of gave me like a unique perspective on the world. So I guess I've always been like, I don't know, keeping my eyes and ears open, like watching
of course.
people interact. And both my parents are also like very, very funny people. Like they're
Oh, okay, good.
ridiculous. Like they make not on purpose. Like my parents make me laugh. Like I weep laughing, like to my mother, like in her face, be like, "You are crazy." Like I posted like an Instagram story where I was like sitting on a fire escape and she was like, "Oh, like where were you today?" And I was like, "Oh, like I that was a picture from a while ago. I just felt like posting it on my story." And she was like, "Do people do that?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "Post pictures from the past." And I was like, "That's all photography is." I was like, "That's all it
That's
is."
so cute. Do
I
you have
love I love
do you
them to
have
death.
siblings?
Oh, this is sad. Now we're getting into sad
Oh,
podcasts. My twin brother passed away when I was 18.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's
Sorry to
okay.
hear
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I miss him. I miss him every day.
that. I mean, just briefly, growing up with your brother, like, did you
Mhm.
ever have to fight for the spotlight type situation? Like,
Oh my God, no, poor him. Like as twins, especially like growing up together and like you're always like an item. Like it was always like Ben and Pablo, Ben and Pablo. We like, but I was the loud one and he was so quiet.
okay,
So I feel like there was never a chance for him to ever break out of my spotlight. Like I was always, but he was a very shy kid, and like
okay,
I don't think he ever cared that I was kind of, getting more attention. I think he
hmm
preferred it that way. But no, like I've never had to fight for that spotlight, baby. That is
and
if
you
there's
still don't, and you still
yeah,
don't.
if there's one thing I'll never go without in my life, like I could be starving on the street, I could be homeless, but I will find a way to get attention in
Gotta find a
spotlight.
way. Did you guys do anything with like? Did you do anything with your friends or your family when the CBC episode came out? Like the new wave of stand. Wow, I'm messing up my
Oh,
words here, but yeah,
that's okay. I
new wave of
mean,
stand up,
no, honestly, no. I mean, my friends are very nice and like, like got a lot of,
sharing and all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sharing messages, but I personally like I don't watch like any videos of mine just because
Okay,
I fear that I would like it would just make me want to trigger warning, kill myself. Like I just
right.
don't know. I think it would be, yeah, I'd see like a mannerism of mine that I'd hate, or I'd be like, why do I look so ugly? Or like, I don't know. I would
You look
just, it would,
great. You look great in the special. I mean,
really?
yeah.
What's the hats? You liked it?
It's the hat, and also it's interesting because like I think we both have a good head of hair, and you have a great, and with the cap you can't tell that great head of hair that you got.
Oh, so should I not wear hat for next TV thing?
But I feel like if it's your shtick, then you
Yeah.
should stick with it. So I mean,
I love
yeah,
that wordplay.
yeah.
Well, my green hats are kind of famous in the Toronto comedy
Okay.
scene, and I've been wearing a green hat for a very long time. And even like I had some friends comment on my 10-minute set. They were like, yeah, like it's nice to see your green hat like finally make it on TV.
No, but
Yeah,
look, if
so
that's become your thing, then you gotta, you know how like some
no,
comics have certain things, you just gotta keep. That's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, that's Ben. You know, like
Yes,
that's yeah,
exactly. I mean, there's many brown-haired men. We got to differentiate
yeah,
ourselves.
yeah, exactly.
But next time I won't wear a hat because
Okay,
I don't want to. I don't want it to be. I don't want people to get too used to it. You know what I mean? I want to
got
keep them.
you,
I want to keep them guessing. In this
got you.
industry, you got to keep them guessing.
What are you working on? Do you have any passion projects that you're working on right now that you'd
Yeah.
love to see into fruition or
Oh, well, I love that. Yeah, I mean, like I've been writing more, working on a couple of pilots and stuff.
oh, awesome.
I write for TV when I can, when they
Hmm.
hire me. So I'm been working on that. Also working on a lot of more like personal writing and stuff, like some
Okay,
essays and stuff, hoping to get some stuff published in the near future. So
yeah,
stay tuned if you're into that sort of thing. And then
yeah, for
just
sure.
obviously gigging, and JFL Toronto is coming up, so I
Big boy,
headlined last year, so I'm probably going to be like opening for some folks
nice.
this time around. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, are you still a pen to paper type comic, or do you do more voice notes or something like
Oh,
that?
I love that question. It really, I'd say if I'm like walking around or I'm with my friends and I think of something and I need to write it down, it's going into my notes app.
Of course.
And then later I transfer it to pen to paper because then I feel like it really, like in my notebook, that's when it becomes like real and like
Right.
tangible. But I don't really do the voice note thing. I
Hmm.
gotta say. And but maybe I should because I think like I have in the past, but I find I just don't listen to them. Or even
Yeah. Well, you mentioned you don't like kind of hearing yourself or whatever.
oh, I
Like,
hate
so
it.
so if
I
you
sound
like,
crazy. I sound crazy. Like I'm not kidding. Anyone listening right now, like I understand what my voice sounds like. I know it's a lot. Like I know it is. Imagine, yeah, I can't imagine listening to it. It's awful. Imagine living with it, you
yeah,
know?
it's also like you maybe a voice note that you took when you were like drunk or when you were high, and then you listen to it the next day, and you're like, what the hell am I saying? You're like,
Oh my God, that's everything I've written down. And you think
yeah,
it's so like, especially when like I like a little bit of weed and I'll smoke some
yeah.
weed and think of a joke. And I look at it the next day and I'm like,
What
what
the
were you
fuck?
thinking?
What the
I'm like,
fuck is
you're
that?
crazy girl. It's I'm living memento. It's crazy. I have
um,
tattoos of jokes all over my
right,
back.
yeah.
No punchlines.
Just
That's a horror movie.
oh, that's actually you should start writing that one.
That's actually
Yeah.
that's not
If
bad.
no one take that idea, please.
Yes, please. It's
Yeah.
mine. Woo!
Before we let you go, we got some rapid fire questions here on the
Oh my God, I'm
show.
scared. Okay.
So I mean, do you have a pump up song that you like to listen to before you go out on stage, or that you just love to embrace life with in general?
Oh, there are actually like so many. Oh, what have I been listening to right now? I mean, right, like I love yeah, I right now I've been listening to the Ice Spice Nicki
Okay.
uh collab to get me pumped up. But usually like a lot of rap, like Mickey Blanco hypes me up. Like I listen to some Megan Thee Stallion, like
Shit. All right.
her by Megan Thee Stallion really pumps me up because the
Hard
whole track
hitters. Yeah.
just hard hitters. Like I like,
Yeah.
yeah, any like top 40 like rap songs, like that
Mm,
just that's gonna get the blood flowing. Yeah,
good to
for
know.
sure. Yeah.
Um, when you're traveling, what is your go-to room service order?
Oh my God, I've never ordered room service. I'm too poor for that.
Oh, okay.
I got
JFL. Come on.
oh honey, JFL. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say. Let's
It's
just
all
say it
good.
would be nicer if JFL paid more. Let's say that. Um, but I love JFL and I would do
Yeah.
it for free.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess best room service order was probably like a grinder hookup to my room. So maybe just like a nice like Quebecois man rolling up to my hotel room in Montreal.
Bonsoir. Yeah.
Bonsoir.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you, when you were studying here, did you live here or did you go back and forth or?
I lived here. Sorry, I lived there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I lived,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Saint
Awesome.
Henry.
Ah,
Yeah. Where do you live? Sorry, you don't have to answer.
no, I'm in the east end of the city. So
Oh,
like where
cool.
all the Italian boys are.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Amazing.
What else have I got here? Pizza or pasta? You got to choose one.
Oh, and an Italian asking me no
I
less.
know.
Oh
I
my
know.
God, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so hard. We're here all day.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh my God.
I
Now
know.
here's the thing. I love both so much.
Yeah.
I love both so much. You know what? Pizza. Oh God. Yeah,
100%.
pizza. Pizza. Pizza.
What's your go-to topping?
Ooh, okay. I mean, like a classic pepperoni is nice,
Always great.
but I do love like a nice like sausage, like a nice spicy
Yeah.
sausage, an andouille
Oh
sausage.
yeah, you know your shit.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know my shit. I love
Yeah.
some olives on there, black or green, doesn't matter. Love Oh yeah, I love like anything spicy, anything salty on a pizza. Anchovies,
Oh, anchovies, the
love
best.
anchovies on pizza.
Pepperoni anchovy cheese. Oh yeah.
Oh, here my go-to pizza order. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'll give them the business.
Go.
Green olives, onion, pepperoni, anchovies. My go-to
Delicious.
every time.
I don't eat olives, but I'm sure it's great.
It's great. You got to give
Yeah.
them a try.
Yeah, no, I do. I think it's a childhood trauma thing. I don't know.
That's like me and zucchini.
Oh, really?
Yeah, too mushy.
Interesting.
Too mushy.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our signature question on this show revolves around music, and it's a deep and dark one, but it's a fun one.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what song would you have played at your funeral and why?
What song would I have? Oh, wow. This is crazy. Oh my God. Now it's like, do I want to troll my friends? You know what I mean? Or do I want to give them the gift of music?
Exactly.
That is really, really hard. I guess. You know what? This is what I would do. I would record a voice note of me singing. Doesn't matter what song. Could be anything. Let's say it's like an Adele song to really get them emotional. I'll be singing that gorgeously, by the way. I'll be taking singing lessons up until my deathbed. So people will be like, at first they're thinking, he sounds like Ben, but he's got a gorgeous voice. And I'm singing. By then they realize it's me. Some people think I might still be alive. They're clawing my coffin open. It's not open casket because I died in a horrible accident. And they're begging me. They're open up the coffin. And then they open up. They see I'm really dead. And then the end of the voice note, I say, "Gotcha." And that's how it ends.
And that's the end of the funeral.
That's the end of the funeral. Confetti cannons go off.
Yeah.
Everyone gets
Adele actually shows up. Like it's wild.
Adele, she's like, "Oh my God, babes. Oh my God."
Ben, this is the part of the show where you can plug whatever you want to plug. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Follow me on Instagram at Ben Sosa-Wright. I post about shows and stuff and writing stuff. So yeah, check that out. Go vote.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that.
We're getting political.
We're getting political.
You can catch Ben Sosa-Wright on the new wave of stand-up comedy on CBC Gem, which is streaming right now. Ben, continued success. And next time you're in Montreal, let's grab a pizza. How about that?
Oh yeah. No olives.
No olives.